My name's Graham Elwood. You're watching The Political Vigilante. Nick Brana from the People's Party. This is a question I really want to ask you, if you have the time. I'm a huge fan of Nina Turner. She spoke at the convention. How come she's not running as People's Party candidate to fill? Because it's a filled seat, right? Somebody, Biden pulled someone out and she's running, right? So is it because the People's Party isn't registered yet in Ohio, or why isn't she running as a People's Party candidate?
It's because we don't have the ballot line yet. And it's a special election and it's happening immediately. And so it would be amazing, obviously, for her to be running right now as a People's Party candidate, but we don't have that. So but what we want her to do is we want her to, and we've shared this with her, is we want her to get to office. We want to, there could be no greater kind of friend of the movement and no greater friend of the People's Party than her. She spoke at the People's Convention, of course. She was active on our advisory council before, running in the race. And so she's very supportive even now of what we're doing. But we want her, of course, we know what happens to people who go into the Democratic Party. And it has nothing to do with the individual. It has nothing to do with that. It's just institutional systemic forces. Like, people are subject to the forces around them. And when you get into there, you're subject to those forces. And so we want Senator Turner, obviously we have a lot of love and respect for her, and we want her to switch her affiliation to the People's Party the minute she gets there.
Well, dude, I mean, that's the thing I've been saying is, like, we need a huge defection. We need a big defections to really, especially give your party steam. And I'm sure you're thinking of that as well. And again, Nina spoke at the people. I mean, if Nina ran for president, I would work on her campaign in a heartbeat. Like, I would absolutely do that. So do you think she would, if she wins, do you think she's going to switch?
I think so. I think if this movement and the progressive movement demands it of her and says that, we want this to happen, I think that she would. I think that she'll have to see a lot of support for it. But I think that she absolutely would. And I think that she would help encourage other progressives to do it with her. Because yes, just like you're saying, we need and want some of those big defections. And so right now, with Dr. Cornel West and Susan Sarandon, so many amazing people, Rose McGowan, joining the advisory council, Justin Jackson, Jimmy, and so many others. It's a big, big group that represent, students and activists and artists and poets and, people from like all across society, a real amazing, beautiful cross section. And if we all call on her to do it, I think that she will. And that represents us kind of working our way up, if we kind of continue to pull people out of the corporate parties and they continue to join us, we will work our way up to those politicians like the progressives in Congress. And obviously, if they broke off, even one of them, but if they broke off as a bloc, that would be, one of the most significant developments, politically, in this century. So that's the goal.
I mean, that is earth shattering. That is the kind of thing that we would need. It would need some sort of monumentous movement like that. It was the thing we were kind of hoping, like in 2016, Bernie was going to run as an independent or something like that. That didn't happen, obviously. But if Nina broke off and took some of the squad with her, and Ro Khanna and some folks like that, that would be significant.
And if Bernie had run in 2020 as a People's Party, can you imagine? We invited him in 2017 to join us as a People's Party. And, we probably haven't brought it up more, but we probably should, because everything that is happening now, rather than where we are now, we could have President-elect Bernie Sanders with the People's Party and many People's Party members of Congress, senators, state legislators, city councilors, people across the country. That transformation that we're pushing for in 2024 and over the next 4 years, I want to point out that could have happened. And it was because Bernie Sanders did not accept the invitation to do that he set us back really as far as we are. Because in the middle of this pandemic, if you had on that debate stage, Donald Trump, Biden and Bernie Sanders, that would have been it. Bernie
would have been
Sanders
over.
would have destroyed them.
Because you would have, I mean, you would have seen Trump and Biden and gone, what's the difference? And Bernie would have just gone, what's the difference? Neither one of them are going to ban fracking. Neither one of them are going to give you Medicare for all. I'm going to do it. Student debt forgiveness. I mean, all of Bernie's things now more than ever would be like, it would be a done deal. We'd be like, oh, thank God, we just got to get to January 20th. And then Bernie and the People's Party are going to finally get us out of this hellscape nightmare. And it's just like, you know, when he gets president, he said he's going to pay for people's rent, not stave off executions, which is just that doesn't do anything. That's a good point. And Bernie needs to be held way accountable for that, man, because it's just like he had this moment. COVID appeared and put Bernie Sanders in this moment in history. I mean, you can look throughout history, and like, I remember reading Winston Churchill's book, and there's plenty to be critical of him on, but his handling of World War II, he was someone who said, I was made for this moment. I was made to be prime minister when this happened, when we were being bombed every day state for whatever it was, 2-3 years. I am going to lead us out of this moment. And Bernie was put in that moment. He was given to him. And he said, my good friend Joe Biden, and then he endorsed him and said, Donald Trump said, blah, 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 threat. It's just like, oh man, it's so, and it's good for you to point that out, and good for us to point it out, because we could have, like you say, President-elect Bernie Sanders. We could be hearing every day, oh, who's in his cabinet? Nina Turner, Dr. West. I mean, like whatever, like his cabinet would just be this who's who of like radical people that are going to make the country better. And when the right wing would be like, oh, socialism, he'd be like, don't worry about it. Socialism is just like the way you run your fire department or your library. I'm just going to take care of you. Don't worry about it. So we need to make that point to show people, see how bad it is now, see how good it could be, which is all the more reason why now get involved in the People's Party.
And we're out of time, because we're out of time in 2024 with, you know, if you accept and understand, I think as most progressives do, as even Bernie Sanders and AOC have admitted now, that Donald Trump was a reaction to Obama. And it was a reaction to the fact that Obama made all of these progressive promises in 2008, Medicare for all, improving, you know, labor rights, tackling the climate crisis. And then he just betrayed all of them. And then after 8 years of neoliberalism under Obama and people losing their homes and not doing anything against the banks, expanding surveillance, expanding the wars, you had the counter reaction was Trump. Well, now we have Obama's vice president as president, who is more conservative than Obama. People are worse off than they were in 2008 economically. And people are more exasperated than they have ever been. And so if you have 4 more years of a worse, like rock bottom under Joe Biden, the counter reaction in 2024 is going to make Obama to Trump look tame.
Oh God, people don't realize that. I'm like, Trump is just a buffoon. He's a narcissist. He's a useful idiot. He's not an ideologue. He has no crazy agenda to push. His only agenda is Trump, Trump, I'm great, Trump, Trump, Trump. What if some lunatic like Mike, what if a charismatic Mike Pence is about as charismatic as a piece of white paper that's like standing next to concrete. Like, but he's a psychopath. The evangelicals are crazy and they're dangerous. And imagine it's going to be somebody who's going to, look how Trump rallied that base. Look how excited. You can say, oh, they're crazy. They're dumb. They're in a cult. Yeah. And he wasn't even smart enough. Like if Trump was a true, like fascist dictator, the minute they said Biden won, he'd say, take to the streets. I'm not leaving. And we would be in a hellscape civil war. That's what a real like fascist dictator who's got a Machiavellian type brain would have done. Trump's too dumb to do that. You know, he's going to play golf and eat Wendy's. So they're going to come up with somebody worse than Trump. You don't think so? I take you back to George W. Bush, where all the liberals said he's the worst president ever. And now he's getting cuddled by Ellen and Michelle Obama. So Trump will seem like just a long line at Disney compared to what evil son of a bitch they will regurgitate up after 4 years of this. So we will have to have a People's Party.
And then the People's Party is the only, to me, the People's Party is the only thing that stands between a fascist, like a real fascist, coming to power in the United States. Because when people get fed up, what people are doing in this country is they are running around with their hair on fire from one person, Obama, Trump, Biden, looking for an escape hatch to the system. It's like, get me out of this hell that you've put me in. And they're so fed up with it that they're willing to elect like a billionaire, reality TV, like racist, sexist oligarch, just because he represents something different from what we had in Hillary Clinton, this like elder stateswoman. And so, if people cannot find that escape hatch in 2024, they've already tried the Trump, they've already tried the Obama, they've already tried the Biden, they've tried the Bush. What are they going to go to? They're going to go to the person who says, give me total power and I will fix your problems.
Yeah.
They're going to go to a real fascist. This is how fascism comes about.
Yeah.
And so the only thing standing between that is another escape hatch, because the Democrats have trapped people in a burning building. And then the Republicans have come about and they've opened an escape hatch and they've said, hey, you can come, Trump's Republicans, and you can come this way. And they've actually managed to portray themselves as populists, more populist than the Democratic Party, which is just completely equated with the status quo right now. And yet they're offering people an escape hatch from that burning building that burning status quo that the Democrats are trapping them in, that is worse, that takes us towards authoritarianism faster than the Democratic Party. And so the only way to oppose that is to open a second escape hatch to that burning building and to say, look, rather than running in that direction just to change the status quo that you're so desperate to get away from, you can come here to escape and you can get healthcare as a human right. You can get pre-K to college as a human right. You can get an end to the wars. You can get a reduction of this like medieval level inequality that we have. You can get an end to private prisons. You can get the legalization of marijuana. You can get an end to surveillance. You can have everything that is overwhelmingly popular in the country, and yet all of the things that neither party represents.
Yeah, and I think both parties realize that all of these populist platforms that you've just listed off, Medicare for all, free college, all that stuff, they know that 80% of Americans in red states and blue states, whatever, would say, yep, we're on board. And that's why they have to make sure that true progressives and true progressive policy never sees the light of day, because they know a third party, if a real third party came about, because look, I mean, we're all seeing it. I mean, Florida voted for $15 an hour minimum wage. Mississippi voted for legalizing marijuana, ending Jim Crow laws. I mean, you've got all these places like Florida that voted overwhelmingly for Trump, said, no, but we want this populist progressive platform of $15 an hour minimum wage because people are hungry and they're starving. So like, yeah, it's a great option. And it gives me a little excitement and a little hope. And like I said, if you want me to run for Congress, I will, because I won't take any corporate money. If, God help the Democratic Party if I get on national TV.
We may have just had a big announcement tonight.
Vegan guns 2022. Well, Nick, thank you so much. And for being on the show and taking time out to talk about everything, Force the Vote, the People's Party, and Nina Turner. We'll really appreciate that. Everybody, please go to peoplesparty.org and forcethevote.org and get involved. When I talk about politics on a local level. I've been talking about it this whole time on this show, getting involved on a local level. And you're like, Graham, I'm just one person. I live in some little small town. Well, get the People's Party in your small town. I talk about get People's Party on your city council, get People's Party on your school board, get them on your state assembly. This is what happens. Nithya Raman just got on the city council. She just beat a guy that is so backed by the big developers. It's a huge issue in Los Angeles. These massive developments, expensive high-rise condos and apartments, and literally tent cities at the bottom. There's a Green Party guy that just became mayor of Baldwin Park, a 26-year-old Green. He beat an 18-year Democratic incumbent. These are how we will make the change. And as Nick talks about, when we are running a People's Party president in 2024, there will already be this groundswell of local Congress, Senate, state representatives, so that pushing these policies, we won't hear this, oh, it's too performative, it's too hard, we don't want to do anything challenging, we want to go to brunch, you'd be idiots. Go to peoplesparty.org. Nick, thank you so much. Anything else you want to leave with the audience here?
That's let's do this. We got a few days to force the vote, and what we do in these last few days is going to set the tone about whether the progressives in Congress are going to be fighting the party establishment now that they have this really thin majority, or whether they're going to be laying down and doing what the establishment wants. And so what we're doing here with Force the Vote, it's so much larger even than Medicare for All. It's so much larger even than this one vote. It is really about a theory of change that is being debated right now about, do you get things done for the people in this country and progressives by playing nice, or do you get things done by making demands?
And I think it's such a great point, man, because I think part of the problem with the lesser of two evil thinking is people have been so beaten by this two-party system that they don't even see a real option. They see these libertarian and green parties and, hey, great for them. I voted green before. I've even voted libertarian where there's I love the third parties, but they're always like, it's just what is it called? Just a resistance vote. It's not a real vote or whatever. So they don't feel like there's even a chance at a hope. That's why they scream lesser of two evils, and we need this. So this is an opportunity to take this groundswell of people, populism, mainly Bernie Sanders people, but also the populism that Trump, not the racist ones, but the people who were voted for Trump because he wanted to get us out of wars. He wanted to bring jobs back. And there was some people who voted for him because they're like, I'm done with all these wars. And there's a chance here to bridge this divide because they want us divided as red and blue states and all that other stuff. Anyway, I could go on forever, but Nick, thank you so much, man, for being on the show. And we will, when I'm done, I'll call you in a little bit. When I'm done, I'll probably be on the air for another hour, but I'll give you a call if you're around. Awesome.
That sounds great. Great to be on, Graham.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for being on the show. Everybody go to peoplesparty.org. Thank you, Nick, so much for being on the show, everyone. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at grahamelwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.